Hello and welcome to Politically Incorrect Knitters. My name is Ann Pinkava, joined as always by the lovely Deplorable Knitter. And this week, our 100th episode, we have special guests from Calius Designs, Emily, Melissa, and Jessica.
Hi guys, thanks for joining us.
Hi. We're happy to be here with you guys.
We're excited to have you. It took a little while to get this all together, but before we find out about our guests, I want to remind you that we are sponsored, as always, by the fabulous Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, and you can get 20% off of your order using the promo code PIK Mayday 20. And I just got a disgusting amount of yarn from her, honestly. And this is one of my new acquisitions. It is her DK bouquet, and it comes with little mini skeins. You never know which ones you're gonna get, and so yeah, it's super fun. It's a little awesome thing. Came with some really adorable little stitch markers with it. So this is one of the things you can get. Use our promo code for 20% off. And that's that. So, ladies, tell us a little bit about your business. I hadn't heard of you until you reached out to me. So tell us who you are, how you started, that kind of thing.
Okay, so Melissa, our mom, started the company. She started doing purses. She would sew purses with leftover drapery fabric that she had.
Because they also ran a drapery business
for 50 plus years, 50, 60 years.
Our family.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it was a family business?
It was, yeah.
So you have a lot of background in fabric then, and design and colors.
A lot of fabric.
So she started with purses, and then she made some soap and some polymer clay jewelry. And then within the last couple years,
it's 2017.
She started knitting, and the first grandbaby was born. So she had to make stuff for him, and then she started dyeing yarn, and here we are. So the name Calius is the last two letters of all of her daughters' names. So Jessica, Emily, and Alexis. And then Jessie and I, we help with the show, any shows that we're doing. Jessie does the social media. She does a really good job with that. And then me and her both record our new podcast, Stitching with Calius. And then I help with any creative aspects. I got to start dyeing yarn, so that was really fun.
I did grab one of yours too.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah.
And then our dad is starting to make yarn bowls. He has a lathe, and he is turning his own yarn bowls and helping with some special things in our subscription box. But yeah.
So it's really, we all do it together. And it's a lot of fun.
Big family ordeal.
It is. We've got all thanks. We've got all of her grandbabies, our boys. They help too, and they they help, but teach them young.
So do you all knit, or do
Mom and I knit, crochet, and spin?
And I just crochet.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
We're trying very hard.
I just started crocheting, like our great grandma taught us when we were like 7 or 8. And then Mom tried to teach me again like 10 years ago. I started on a blanket. It was going great, and then my cat threw up on it, and so I just quit. I've done for 10 years.
That's discouraging. I can understand.
Yes, it was. It was fun when she taught me the last time. We were at one of her purse shows, and so we were having a ball.
We weren't selling anything, but we were having a good time.
And
I've been to a couple shows like that before too.
Right.
Yeah.
So you gotta entertain yourself somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the business has been a yarn business since 2017, and you've been growing it.
Right.
And you mentioned you just did a trunk show, so that's pretty cool.
We did.
Yes.
We celebrated local yarn store day with our favorite yarn store, of course. But it's Designing Woman in Fairlawn, Ohio. So it was really nice to just hang out with her and her daughter and see all their regulars and just sitting there.
Meet some new people and
Yeah.
talk about
That's
yarn.
awesome.
We downloaded a whole lot of patterns
Yes.
that day. Our wish list of things to do.
That's cool. So you guys are unique in your inspiration. I haven't come across another company that does what you do. So can you tell us why you decided to go that route?
Well, we all of our yarns are named after first ladies, and we're starting to get into other women of history in America. I started reading a lot of historical books, and it all seemed to be all the queens and royalty in England. And I really liked it. It was very interesting. You learn a lot. And then I thought, well, we have the first ladies here, and I'll read about them. So I started reading. I probably started with Martha Washington, and they just have lived a very interesting life. They've raised their families and dealt with all sorts of different things that normal people deal with, and then on top of that they have the politics, the public life. So I just thought it was interesting, and we started, somehow it all came to that. Came up with that idea. So that's what we do.
That is so cool. And I mean, we'll show off your yarn box a little bit later, but you have a little list of facts about the first ladies.
Right.
I found absolutely fascinating. And things I didn't know, and flipping through your website too, that I mean, some of the names you recognize just by the last name, Coolidge and Polk. I'm like, I don't know anything about this woman.
Right.
And I think there's a couple other historical figure names that I'm like, I don't know who this is. Wait, hang on. I want to know more now.
Right. That was the idea, to get people to, we write down a few little tidbits of information, but there's so much there, and most of them you can find a book, and I just read through. It takes a while sometimes. They're not always full of fun things, but yeah, it's interesting to see what's happened in the past.
Definitely.
That's
And
cool.
how do you choose the colors specifically for each person? Do you take a
That's what I was
portrait,
just
or
gonna
just
ask.
kind of what you think of it, or?
It's
She got asked this so many times yesterday.
it's
too.
all up in it's the way I think. So it has nothing to do with normal things. So,
Nothing to do with the ladies themselves.
right. It's just however I remember anything I remember about the first ladies, like Lady Bird. Her yarn is blue. It's a light blue, and in my mind, when I was growing up, I had heard the name Lady Bird. To me, it was a bluebird. So that's why I chose blue. Yeah. So it really doesn't have anything to do with every once in a while they do. Like Nancy Reagan is bright red.
Right.
And because, she's always wearing the red suits and whatever, and there's different ones that other people will recognize, but most of the time you're not gonna recognize the tie between the yarn and the lady.
Well, I was flipping through, and Mrs. Coolidge, I noticed that hers was it was kind of a muted red with some browns that was very barn-like. And I was that personally, I looked at that and I was thinking, well, that's their home back in New Hampshire, right? Is that how that
Oh,
happened?
good. Yeah,
I didn't actually know.
exactly it.
You're like, good
Yeah.
answer. That's it. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it now.
Yeah.
But
That's interesting. So the ladies that are further back in history are more based on you, what you think of them, and then like people like Melania or Nancy Reagan, who we know may have a little bit more based on what people would recognize.
Right, right. Well, most of them, I like Melania. I just think she is just so pretty, and she just always is beautiful, no matter whatever she's doing. She just is beautiful, and so I named one of my favorite yarns that just happens to be pink, and I don't know if I've ever seen her in pink, but to me, well, I guess I have. I can think of one outfit, but to me, it was my favorite yarn. So it had nothing that's the one I thought was the prettiest. So it's like little things like that. Every once in a while, like Nancy Reagan, that was kind of purposeful, right? But sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you don't.
Mhm.
So.
That's really interesting. So should we show our boxes now, Anne? I'm kind of excited about this.
it's so cool. Sorry. I know we mentioned this a little bit before, but you guys sent us a box and then we have another one for a giveaway. And I was very excited to open it.
Yeah. I've seen other boxes, and this one was a lot, not to knock anybody's boxes because they're all beautiful, but this one was very thoughtful with all the information included and the different little goodies and how they tied in. It was exciting. I have a tendency anytime I get yarn, I go to my mom's house and we open it together, because who else in this world loves yarn as much as me? It's my mother. So,
Right. Exactly.
And she and I were like divvying it up, and I'm like, look, you can't have any until I do the podcast, and then I can like this.
Which is also funny because when I got my box, my mother was also there. I was chatting with her, and she shakes it and she's like, what is this? And I'm like, yarn. She's like, I think your yarn is broken, and it's a little marker. So I'm like, no, it's fine.
That's cute. Oh,
That's fun. So do you want to show yours off, Anne?
Sure. I think they're the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
I just meant, do you want to talk?
Well, sure.
We're not going to say no to that, right? So.
No, of course not. So I believe we got the April box, which is very pretty.
And this is what is this box called? I'm sorry.
It's Skein Story Unwound. We wanted to tie in the yarn and the history part of it together. So we
wanted to use her story
because like history, her story,
but it's copyrighted, so
yes.
we can't.
So
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we settled on we really like Skein Story because
Yep.
it still tells the story of our yarn.
Gosh, a beautiful box. And there's a little sealed letter on the inside, which mine's been opened already because, I had to. But yeah, that there's a little slip saying everything that you have in there, the yarn spotlight, a little bit on, let's see, there's 5 20-gram mini skeins in here, and 3 of them are first ladies and 2 are other historical figures. So this month, make sure I read them off, is Martha Washington, Sarah Polk, and Edith Wilson. And there's also Helen Keller and Anne Sullivan. There's a little sheet in there giving historical facts about each president. There's 2 recipes in there for one recipe. Sorry, there's one recipe. For Sarah Polk's hickory nut cake. And there's 2 patterns in there for things that you can make with the mini skeins that you have. And they're here. Let me go ahead and show off the skeins. Let me get the extra tinsel off. They are absolutely beautiful. Here we have, get these right. Here's Helen Keller, along with Anne Sullivan. Oops, make sure that I have them shown right. And then, okay, and then we have Edith Wilson, Martha Washington, and I always forget poor Sarah Polk again. They are absolutely beautiful. And the extra notions that, or the extra things in there, there's cocoa tea for Martha Washington. And, you know, just one of the other things I really like about this is that, okay, so I'm not a super fan of the Wilsons, you know, Edith Wilson or anything, but there's a little thing in there about how she was given orchids throughout her courtship and she would wear them later in life. And there is a beautiful little stitch marker with an orchid in it. And that is so lovely and romantic. I love it.
Now, I got a question. You guys mentioned that you had done stuff with polymer clay. Is this a homemade thing or did you outsource the stitch marker?
It is handmade, but it's not the clay, it's resin.
Yep.
So we use resin for that, and that's what our dad uses for the bowls as well. We pour those.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It seems like it's definitely one of a kind, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Emmy did
And I
all
got-
the artwork for those.
Yeah,
Nice.
very pretty.
Um,
And of course, the little tin of stitch markers, which was not broken yarn. But yeah, they're like a, here, I'll show them up, but they are like a little whoop, rose gold pink, and they have little pearls on them, and they're so pretty.
the whole box is just very, you can tell it's just very thoughtfully crafted. And I just wanted to point out, this is Martha Washington. She's my new favorite yarn. And I'm probably gonna have to buy some. My mom keeps saying, hey, your birthday's coming up. What do you want? It might be Martha Washington. I'm not gonna lie. So
We do.
Wait till you see it on Sparkle.
We brought it in Sparkle to show you guys.
oh, I might be in trouble then.
Yes, it's
Oh.
our favorite.
I love it.
That's gorgeous. But it's just everything about the box. I was reading all the cards to my mom, and it's just so well thought out. And I think that it must just be a joy to receive in the mail, like knowing that it's coming and then getting all the little information and the thoughtful things inside is just really, we had a blast opening it and looking at them and trying to figure out who the women were. And like, we knew who they were, but like, you know, looking at the colors and
Yeah.
We're
Really
glad to hear that because we have that much fun.
We have fun
Yeah.
putting it together.
And finding out about them and picking, you know, each of the first ladies, we put a little special something for each of the first ladies. And so we want to share that excitement with everyone else. So it's good to hear.
that's awesome.
Say that, I mean, you know, not to knock anyone else's minis either, but I do like that they're 20 grams instead of 10. That's also very fun.
We're done with that.
Right. I
Oh.
don't know why she randomly started tying them like that into the shorter.
I
I love
them
it.
like that.
I think they're so cute. They're so tiny.
So you guys obviously do this together, but do you also have jobs outside of this? Is this like a hobby or is it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I work full time and she watches my
I
son.
watch the baby.
And then she's
I'm a
also,
stay-at-home mom.
yeah. And she's gonna start
She has-
homeschool.
I did.
Yeah.
She has 3 kids, so she does want to just
Say.
stay at home.
Yeah, and we are homeschooling them, so we're busy.
Yeah, I am also a homeschool mom. I only have 2 though, but yeah, it's a lot of work and
A lot of people don't see how much goes on behind the
Behind the
scenes. All the
Yeah,
planning
there's a
and-
lot to it. But it's really cool that you guys get to do it together. I think that that's the best. My mom and I design together, and our best days of designing and working are when we get together and we do it together. Like I can design on my own, but there's something about when we're together that it flows better. It's
Does.
or- and then you have an idea and you have somebody to say, hey, does this sound dumb? Like, you
Right.
know, it's good to have somebody bounce it off of.
We have
That's
many
cool.
conversations.
We did an advent calendar. I think this was one for 2 years ago. So we named all of the yarn, the colorways after like
Different.
Christmas
It was 12
knitting.
days of knitmas.
knitmas, yeah. So we it was
Scandier games.
Scandier games. So we're sitting there trying to come up with all
Yeah.
these things. Is this one dumb? Is this? And so we're singing
one
Christmas
funny?
songs and
Yeah.
what Grinchmas, Merry Grinchmas, yeah.
And yeah, we had
There were
some good ones.
there were.
That's cool. So your yarn is beautiful. It's obviously you put a lot of thought into the things that you're doing. So tell us what happened to you girls that made you contact me, because I know a little bit of the story, but I don't know a whole bunch. So I want to hear what exactly happened.
So Mom and I were, we're always trying to come up with ways to get it out there.
Get our name out.
It's hard, finding like the best traffic, the ads and all that. So we're like, oh, we found this website who really appreciates indie dyed yarns. And so we're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's just try it. Let's, go out on a limb, and we paid for like the subscription. So you get to like post about your yarn for like 6 months. I think
like
something like that. And we're like, we're going to go all in and do the 6 months right off the bat. We were so excited. And I created my first post for it, and I sent it to Mom. Does this look good? And we we talked about like who we were, why we liked the first ladies. We put that in there, and just little stuff about us, and then a little bit about our yarn. I thought it was a pretty normal first post. So then we get an email. We were actually at church when all this started happening, and so it was very. But so we read it when we got home, and she said, I looked over your website. I saw all the first ladies, and I think it's awesome what you're doing. I saw Jill Biden, and then she said, do you have Michelle Obama? I didn't see her on your website. And so
and this was while all the Christy Glass stuff was happening. Yeah, we had no idea that was all happening until after this.
Yeah.
Right. Until like the next day.
Right.
And so we responded back with we had actually just gotten our Michelle Obama minis ready to go, and we were going to put them on our next update, which was the next one, but not like I think we had kits we were doing for that one. So we messaged her back and told her that, and she's like, oh, well, you can still mention her and tell about her, and making the focus on just Michelle Obama, who we didn't even have in stock because we were waiting on a shipment of BFL to get in to dye more colors. So we told her that, and we told her that we didn't, this wasn't a political thing for us. We want to appreciate all of the first ladies and not just like single out one. We want to appreciate, because everyone knows about the guys, everyone knows what they did and who they were, but like not a lot of people pay attention to the first ladies, especially like some of the older ones. Right. So we told her that, and our focus was everyone, and we weren't making it a political statement. She responded back with, how can first ladies not be political? And that basically we had to make the post about Michelle Obama. And we said, we're sorry, we're just like, we're not doing that. We're not, this isn't political for us. Right. Knitting is supposed, and crocheting, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to
be an escape.
Yeah, and decompress, and not, everyone gets so riled up about politics. You need an escape. Even if you are into politics, everyone needs their something to relax at the end of the night, and this was ours, and she didn't want to ruin that by bringing the political side into it. Right. And so she refunded us our money and told us she didn't think it was a good fit, and we were like, that's okay.
We thought it was a good idea.
Yes.
To get out of there.
We agreed.
So what happened was you didn't have any Michelle Obama in stock, but she was still pushing you to promote it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like poor business.
It wasn't
Like-
right. You even left her out. It's just like, well, she's just going to be next week. It's okay.
Right.
It's all right.
Yes.
Right.
And she said that she was the only one not on the website. And she absolutely wasn't the only one not. We at
We
this
hadn't
point,
even finished all of the
Yeah.
first ladies yet.
and she did have
She had the
eggs.
minis.
Yeah, she had the
online.
minis that were
Yeah.
going up like that Friday, like in 2
We just-
days. And so there were like 15 other women,
Yeah.
first ladies, who weren't up yet.
And with all the supply chain issues, we weren't able to get yarn. We were waiting on it.
Right.
There was nothing
We could do.
about it. And we told her we
Yeah.
do have the colorway. Several times we told her that
Yeah.
there is a Michelle Obama colorway.
It's
but
just out of stock.
I cannot physically produce it.
Yeah. So she said it's how can first ladies not be political? And I think the point that she was missing, which most people that you would talk to would probably understand, is that if you're including everybody, it's not political. You are just doing an overview of what has happened in the world, and that doesn't make you be on one side or the other. It just makes you talking about what has happened, and
Right.
Yep.
that's just ridiculous to me.
If I want to hear politics, I turn you guys on.
This is true.
So
I didn't know about the Elon Musk thing until I watched your episode from last night.
I tend to stay
My
away from the
Twitter.
news.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Anne and I have a tendency to be the news for more people
Well,
than
that
we really
it works
intended
for
to
me,
be.
so keep it up.
Wonderful news ladies.
Well, thank you. But that's I cannot get my mind around this whole thing of because you wouldn't write a post about Michelle Obama, therefore you can't do business with this person.
Yeah.
Right.
And the idea that, well, Michelle Obama, as you know, is the most important first lady. It's like there's 46 of them, okay?
Right.
Like there's a lot to go through.
Yeah.
There are.
There-
And these ladies have done
They've
so
done a lot
much.
A lot of things.
I mean, whether it be for their husbands or some of them have they secretly helped run the country. I mean,
A lot of
Wilson, she wasn't it her when he had a stroke? I think it was Wilson.
No.
One of
I don't
them.
know. I forget.
No, I think that was Edith Wilson too, because
Okay.
again, after she was
Okay.
in the box, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is beautiful yarn. I love the orchid thing. So I'm sitting there and I'm Googling her. And I'm just like, oh yeah, she was the one where old Woodrow had a stroke and she was like signing stuff in his name.
Yes. She did. So, she secretly ran the country. So she was doing things. And the whole point was to see what they were doing.
Right.
Right. And yeah, and I mean, it's a little bit different too, I think, that, you have the president and what their administration does. But with the ladies, I mean, of course, it is connected politically, but it is home lives of American women in these eras.
Right.
And how they
Exactly.
change through time and how they're different and how it's a different way of relating to people
Right.
that you see with their lives.
And it's interesting how some things have not changed. Yeah, they're still dealing with the same things that we're dealing with. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Zimmerman said there's nothing new in knitting, and I think that can be applied to anything. There's nothing new under the sun.
Mhm.
We all deal with
Right.
the same stuff.
right, it's just how we deal with it. So
And I love the fact that some of the first ladies didn't even always agree politically with their husbands, like Mamie Eisenhower after the election, and he had retired and everything, she started voicing her opinions for women who were running for office, and he was on the other side. So it was kind of neat to see them. They don't always support their husband's political views too.
Oh, I remember reading a while ago, it was William Buckley's book on Ronald Reagan, but Buckley was also really good friends with Nancy Reagan. And I've heard people say like, well, Nancy Reagan is more liberal than her husband, but it was just fascinating throughout how much she loved him and how much she was respected by other people and how she did not like being in the White House at all. And just that was a very interesting, perspective on the whole political situation in the 80s.
Right. I think there were a lot of first ladies that had no interest at all in the White House. They wanted to stay far from that as away as they could.
Well, wasn't it, I think it was Ivana Trump who said that poor Melania just like kept up in the White House. You can't go out, you can't say whatever you like. You just have to be nice. And I could never do that.
No.
Ivana, she's hilarious.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of the women, they went through bouts of depression, and they may have had it before and after, but like it was so magnified during their 4 or 8 years in the White House. It's just so hard being there and cooped up and watched.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that. I would be a nut. But I just, one more question about the ad that was not to be, was it anything political, the site that you were on? It was a knitting site, correct? It wasn't anything.
It was a knitting site. It was,
okay. You'll have to tell us which one.
Yeah, but they do hold like a festival each year, and it's a pretty big one. But
okay.
It was just knitting. We just that's all I'm about.
And
knitting and yarn.
Yeah.
And,
that's all they had. It was
So it was not political. It wasn't like we called you guys, because I think you guys are definitely, that's what you do. But that's fine, because I tune in for that. But
right. I mean, we tell people up front what we're gonna do. And if you don't want it, that's okay with later.
Exactly. But this was all yarn, and apparently they like to do more than just yarn, I guess. They want it their way.
Yeah. I guess that's what I just like the most, was they were trying to tell us how to run our business. It's like, have you put in the countless hours, and have you done all the work and all of it? Have you done any of it? It's like, no. So you run your website and business, and we'll stay in our lane.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate, because I think because of the pressure certain players put on people, that they feel like they cannot just promote a line that is, first ladies or historical women, without it being like, oh, you have to show off Rosa Parks, you have to show off Michelle Obama, because they want to check the boxes, they want to be an ally, they want to do all those things that a lot of people are getting pressure to do, and it's not easy to stand up to that, even though it's just an ad. And you guys could have totally easily been like, okay, fine, we can put Michelle Obama up, but it's hard when it's coming at you. You don't expect it in knitting. You expect people to be like, wow, I love your Martha Washington yarn. You don't expect them to be like, oh, well, she's not a woman of color, so we can't enjoy it. Like it's gone so far. It's so goofy.
And I'm the stubborn one, and luckily she got me in the emails. And I'm not one to let people tell us what to do. Right. I mean, I don't think you would have either, but she got me in the emails. Right. And I'll say it.
I'm a little more of a pushover.
Yeah. I don't think you would have, but you might not have been. So no, this is how it is.
Yeah.
Well, and I found that way, not just, with this is a figure from history, but you can only talk about them in one way, is another thing that really stifles people as well. I mean, like, in your box, you have Helen Keller, and I've had people, more recently be like, oh, well, but don't you know that Helen Keller was also a great feminist, and she campaigned for this and this and this. I'm like, well, that's good. That's all part of her life. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk about that, but she can only be framed in that way. And you can't say, well, isn't it wonderful, her and Anne Sullivan, that the achievement that she could overcome, her physical disabilities? That's awesome. that you can only look at these people's stories from one direction. And the kind of, just allowing these historical people to be people from whichever direction you see them.
It's nice to see, because we get like different books and, we look at the different websites, but it's nice to see the whole picture. And, there may be things from both sides, both parties. And so we try and read it all because we don't want to just look at people one way. People are multidimensional.
Right.
They are.
Yeah.
You can't box them in.
Right.
Well, that's what they forget. They're so busy trying to check their boxes that they forget that, maybe they've done something that isn't as wonderful but they're looking at it from one thing, like, oh, this is a woman of color, so therefore we have to love her no matter what. Whereas, I think most of us want to take a realistic approach and say, they did this good thing and this thing they did was kind of crap, and see everything. And it's something that's been happening in our culture. I talked about it on last episode where everybody's like in love with Elon Musk. Well, yeah, he did something cool, but like, let's take a breath. Let's not just assume that they're perfect because we like one thing they did,
Right.
And that's the problem.
And you mentioned checking the boxes. We do have, we have all a ton of women. Well, not a ton, but we're branching out into the women of history. And she said we had no people of color on our website at first. I said, no, there are. We look at
several.
Yeah, but then she went through and said those women of color were not good enough.
They weren't, yeah.
they were not acceptable to her.
It's like the apologies. It's not good enough. They want you to apologize. They want you to do whatever. And then they're going to come back and say, well, no, we didn't like that one. So maybe they don't like Rosa Parks for some reason. And now that woman is not good. Like, you can't win.
And like I said before, flipping through your website, there was some names I didn't recognize at all. Well, I don't know if those women are women of color or not. And it's like,
Right.
Perhaps this woman who complained didn't know about them either.
Maybe.
Probably not.
That's a very good chance.
Right.
Well, even we have mentioned Rosa Parks. Her maiden name was Parks. So that was like one of the first ones.
That was one of the first ones I did just because of the name.
Yes. But when we put her up, we still look at her.
Right. We looked at what she did.
But it's a nice little, but it wasn't good enough.
Man, that just it boggles my mind that the women of color you had on your site wasn't good enough. And also not in any sort of like women of color shouldn't be highlighted, but historically in the United States, a lot of the people, like all of the first ladies except Michelle Obama, are white. And so if you are getting inspiration from history, there are going to be more white women just because that's how the country has been.
Right.
And that's
You can't change that. You
Right.
can't.
No matter how hard they try.
Yes. History's our history.
Right.
That's crazy. Man. Sorry, now my mind is like
It is. And because we've posted pictures of them on our Instagram, and so anyone recent within the last 20 years or so, I always put a little disclaimer at the bottom. This is not political. We appreciate women from both sides. We enjoy their aspect of history and what they did for their husbands and their country. And we just want to look at them as women. And so I post that on anyone I do recent. just
in case.
I'm sorry to tell you, but that has outed you as not a liberal because you're not worried about checking boxes. So therefore, you've already told them. Sorry.
We're okay with that.
We're good.
We just don't want to argue about it.
Yeah. if they do come after you though, I've discovered that most of them do not understand humor or sarcasm. So if you are good with either of those, you can totally just hold your own just by being funny. Like I just say stupid stuff to people and they have no idea. They don't even, like their heads explode and they run away because they don't even know what to do. So.
Even, okay, so my husband is a liberal.
Mhm.
And we are fine with each other. We're, we live peacefully
For the most part.
For the most part. I mean, everyone fights and, but we're fine. And so and I told him what had happened and I read him word for word these emails and he couldn't even understand why.
happened.
Yeah. It jumped so quickly from like, do you have it? No, put it on. And so he was confused and he is liberal. Maybe he wouldn't be checked as liberal enough.
Yeah, we may be rubbing off.
That's what I was going to say. He's probably one of those liberals that is still like thinking for himself. So therefore, he's probably more in the middle than actually liberal. Because that's what I've discovered. If they can have a thought that wasn't sanctioned by somebody else, then
Yeah.
they're not so liberal anymore. I'm sure your husband is lovely.
He has his moments. I love him dearly. He would be the guy. I mean, he may very well be closer to the middle now, but he will never say it.
Right.
Right.
Which is fine. That doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter. Just,
Yeah. We just don't talk politics.
God bless you, because if my husband and I weren't, well, first off, my husband is the guy who I will walk out of bed who's already been watching the news for an hour and he'll be like, you won't believe what's happening. If we weren't on the same page, I don't think I could do it. I would be like, dude, I can't even with you.
There are some moments, but the best part, he's very, adamant about some of the things. He isn't even registered to vote. So I go vote how I vote, and he doesn't vote at all.
Well, then at least you're not canceling each other out, so that's a bonus.
Right.
Yes. That's how he tried to get me not to vote. He said we'd cancel each other out. I said, you're not registered.
So I still have one up on you.
Yeah. Oh.
That's funny.
Women's suffrage carries the day again.
Yes. Living, getting things done.
That's too funny.
I was just going to ask, because you have a couple of the cowls that you made with you.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Me too.
These are the ones that the pattern in the box will make.
This is the knit pattern. And it's got some cables and bobbles and then you have your crochet.
I do, which makes an excellent lap blanket as I've been sitting.
I know.
Here.
Nice and warm.
All right. And then mine, I just did kind of a little wavy on it. And it goes all the way around. But my favorite is how the Sarah Polk, the little swishes in the white turned out. Mom bobbled her Sarah and bobbled it. And so I put my little swishes in. And so I think they both worked up pretty quickly. Yeah. If you don't procrastinate.
And they write both of the patterns.
Yeah.
Mom did the knitting pattern and Jessie did the crochet. So that was cool.
And we did
and this was your first pattern you wrote.
Yeah, this was my first one.
Yeah.
She's done a few. And we did bring our socks because we did want to show we do have Michelle Obama.
And these are unblocked. They're not.
Yeah,
they're
they are.
kind of-
This one's yours.
yeah.
This one is Michelle.
We did. She literally was just out of stock. I promise. And so she is this bottom section right here. And then we've got Mamie and Martha Randolph. And so we just thought they were fun little. There's
Here's the knit.
So I promise I was not being difficult in our emails.
Yeah.
We were just waiting.
That's too funny. They're very pretty. and you guys also have some yarn to show us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. We
Here,
try
I
to
just
get
want to say before you show off the new yarn that, gosh, your guys' colors are good. And nobody can even say that you're being vindictive. It's like, oh, well, you have Michelle Obama yarn, but it's not as nice. No, that's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She does a beautiful job. she does.
So here's, can
Yeah,
I
go
do
ahead.
it? Okay.
Go ahead.
This is a sneak peek at next month's box. All purples and greens. Who is this one?
That's
Randolph.
Martha Randolph, yeah.
I don't know names that well. Martha Randolph.
This is how we teach. They're like little flashcards.
This one's Mamie Eisenhower. And then we have Michelle Obama. And then
This one is
you know these.
Lucretia Mott, and she was a Quaker, and so she did different things, and she really helped the feminist movement back in the 1700s, I believe.
Who's this one?
And then that's Babe Diedrichson, who was incredibly everything athletic. Yeah, she golfed, played baseball, she did track and field in the Olympics. I think she danced as well,
Yeah,
but
you
not
said-
like professionally.
Did you say ballet maybe?
I don't think it was
Was it-
ballet. She really just did everything.
Did everything.
And so she broke a lot of records for women. So it was neat to read up
Yeah.
on her too.
So we briefly showed Martha. Here's Martha on Sparkle. It's my favorite. I think it's all of our favorite
On
Sparkle.
Sparkle.
And then this one is Melania.
We just wanted to show both sides
Yeah.
today.
And then Eliza Johnson.
And this is our MCN.
And
Oh, that's-
Eleanor Roosevelt.
And that's our DK of the BFL.
Most of our yarns are on BFL, Blueface Leicester. I just wanted something a little different, and I really have it turned out to really like the yarn
Yeah.
when I started it. But then we'll have a few merinos and Sparkle.
And then we have the full skein of Mamie Eisenhower.
Oh, that was maybe I need to grab
Yeah,
Michelle.
you got Mamie.
Oh, dang it.
And then this one is, we just got lace weight. And this one's Emma Watson.
And this was Emmy's.
It was
Dye.
yeah, my second dye.
We're letting her name all the
Like
current women, notable women, and I get all the historical ones because I'm old.
she gets old and I get young.
You guys are
Let's be
funny.
who didn't love Harry Potter.
Right.
Here, I was about to say that, I mean, I don't know if you were thinking of this specifically, but that is a very Hermione color.
Yes.
Right.
Her
Her
ball
dress.
gown. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It is.
Right.
We love, and I mean, really, she's done a lot of humanitarian work in her own, not even,
Right.
outside of the Harry Potter stuff. She's done a lot.
Yeah.
Those are our goodies.
That's very pretty. So is the May box already done? If people wanted it, can they get it, or is it over?
We have, so for the most part, they're sold out. We have 2 left. So if you're the first 2 to get it, or no, 3. There's 3 left.
3.
So you can get those, and then after that, we'll start for the June one.
Right. It's will be going out Monday.
Yeah.
We're finishing it up tonight.
So if you get them in tonight,
So I'll be buying mine tonight because those are my colors. Like I said, it's my birthday, and so therefore
Yeah.
I'm getting one. So that's cool.
It's your birthday today.
No, my birthday's on Thursday. So like I said, it's coming right up. It's Cinco de Mayo. I get to eat tacos and not be in charge of my kids. So I mean, how much better could it be?
Yes.
But no,
That's really exciting. Your 100th episode is right by your birthday too.
I know. Well, Anne and I, yeah, and then next month is Anne's birthday, and it's also our 2-year anniversary. So we have all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But
You lined that everything up perfectly. It just worked.
it just happened, and it's perfect. But so people watching, if you want to win this month, this giveaway is big because it is our 100th episode, and so you can get a copy of Odyssey Tale, a fabulous non-woke fairy tale epic fabulous story by Cody Schlegel, and this beautiful box that I swear I haven't opened yet. But if I don't get it out to you guys soon, I don't know, it could happen. But yeah, so we have a great giveaway this time, and you can enter it by commenting on episode 100 or my Instagram post, and you can enter on either YouTube or Rumble. So that's exciting stuff. Guys, your yarn is just gorgeous. It's very, I love the colors. Like I said, I'm good friends with Martha Washington now too. So.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun. It is.
Yes. I have a question for you too.
Absolutely.
At the beginning of your podcast, way back when, I believe you two were doing an Afghan, or you were knitting something for something. Whatever happened to that? I might have missed an episode, but
no.
Okay.
There was going to be a museum exhibit called Crafting Conservative,
right?
And because of COVID, and because
okay.
I think that possibly also because Trump did not win the election, it got bumped in favor of other things.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, I think part of it too is the lady who put it on that she's a pretty liberal woman, but craftivism really is a liberal thing and not really a conservative thing. So they're like really enthusiastic. Like I remember at the same art museum that they had this one thing where this lady had crocheted an American flag and it's the Constitution behind it. And every once in a while she would come back and she would unravel more of it and then unravel more of it next week. And that was part of the art. And I mean, me sitting there, I'm like, well, if that's what you think art is, I guess that's that. But why would I want to come and see that? Well, that's more of a conservative mindset than it is a liberal mindset. So me as a conservative wanting to make conservative art pieces, that it's a little more, yeah. But yeah, so we were going to work on a different Americana piece quilt, but the exhibit was canceled. So
okay, I think that's the first time I saw you were talking about that, and I think that's how I focused in on your show. But
yeah, we were pretty excited about it, and
yeah,
the last I had heard, she was going to write a paper about it, or she was going to do some sort of look into it, but I wasn't real keen on that because, as Anne said, she is a super liberal woman, and
I mean, she's fair to give us airtime. So it's not, it's not as if we have a problem with that way.
No, I think she's great. I actually have met her in person, and I got along really well with her. But I wasn't keen on her writing articles about our work because inevitably it's going to have her viewpoint slanted into it.
Right.
And so that was my concern with it. Not that I didn't want to be involved, but more, if we weren't writing the articles about our pieces, then it wasn't going to be our viewpoint. And so last I heard, nothing is happening with it, unfortunately. If something does happen, we will mention it, but
see it.
So Anne's got some pieces. I was lame. I didn't get much done.
I know. I mean, I still have the Intarsia charts hanging out, so I'm gonna have to figure out something else to do with them.
Yeah. She's got that amazing eagle she did, the seal, with the arrows and the crown, and it's amazing. I cannot do Intarsia like Anne. I bow to her. Yeah, but that's what's happening with that. And if anything ever comes of it, we will make sure to tell everybody. But
good.
I don't think it's gonna, unfortunately.
Okay.
So say again where we can find you and your work.
Go ahead.
Okay, we are on Instagram as Calius Designs Fibers.
No, Instagram. Get out of here. Instagram is Calius Designs. Facebook is Calius Designs Fibers because our original page got hacked, so it has fibers at the end of it. Our website is www.caliusdesignsfibers.com. And then we are on YouTube as Stitching with Calius. But you guys are the only one who gets Mom in your podcast. We weren't cool enough.
Well, we feel super special, and we're so pleased you guys joined us today, and that you decided to come on to our show, even though you won't come on your own kids. So that's pretty fabulous.
Well, she also has, she names everything after women. She said she doesn't have any girls to name her yarn after. And Emmy and I are like,
She has 3 daughters.
I was referring to granddaughters. I have all grandsons.
I'll live here.
That's too funny.
We're used to it.
Oh,
boy.
We're very pleased you all decided to join us today. It's been a lot of fun. And don't forget to enter to win your box because it's awesome. And check them out, Calius Design Fibers, CaliusDesignsFibers.com. And don't forget to also check out Chicken Lady because she is also fabulous and awesome. And you can get 20% off your order with PIK Mayday 20. So is that what you were going to say, Anne?
I was about to say, you can always do both. Beautiful Skein Stories boxes and Chicken Lady. Come on, Christmas in July. Let's go.
Yeah. And actually, Chicken Lady has, I think, pre-orders for her band book club yarns. So that's always something fun to check out too. But ladies, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. It's been a lot of fun. And
Thanks for
we're
having
glad you could
us.
come. All right.
we had a really nice time.
Oh, good. All right. Well, we will catch everybody else next week. And thank you. We'll see you again soon.